Good morning. This is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Briefing for Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Precipitation for the past 7 days is shown here on the left. Western Idaho has been seeing some precip the last couple of days up there. Otherwise, it's been on the drier side further south. And the 30 days percent of normal shows that same trend with some drier conditions across Nevada and much of Utah, with just some above normal there over far western Idaho and then a little bit in eastern Idaho as well. Snowfall in the past 72 hours again shows that precipitation over the central and western Idaho mountains. High elevations getting a good amount of snow there, maybe up to 12 inches or so, maybe heavier in some areas and some of these darker reds. Current snow info shows our inches of snow depth. Again, central Idaho mountains being the big winners so far this winter, with 12 to 20 inches or so of snow on the ground right now, maybe a little bit deeper in some spots. And then if we look at our snowpack here on the right, again, just showing some early season trends. Western Idaho above average. Utah is starting to see those values declining with some drier weather that we've had this week. And then the values in Nevada don't necessarily mean a whole lot this time of year. That will all change, however, over the coming week as we have this nice low pressure system setting up off the west coast. It's been bringing some heavy precipitation into the Pacific Northwest and Northern California over the weekend and through the first part of next week. That system will move through the Great Basin and bring some another round of pretty good widespread rain and high elevation snow, mid to high elevation snow. Okay, so again, this afternoon, that low is still sitting kind of on our doorstep. We'll continue to see some showers and snow in western Idaho and into far northwest Nevada. Ventilation rates are pretty poor across the north and east. In far western Nevada, we see those values increasing for the ventilation rates because of the strong winds that are going to be moving in there ahead of this system. In fact, we have some really gusty winds today, once again, over western Nevada, with gusts in that 60, 65 mile an hour range with locally higher values in wind-prone areas. So there may be a red flag warning issued later today for those winds in western Nevada. Otherwise, lighter winds on the east side of the basin. Mixing rates are also poor on the east side with higher values on the west. Saturday, the trough starts to move through the area, so we should see increasing cloud cover and some precipitation moving further south and east beginning on Saturday. Ventilation rates really start to pick up as that trough moves through. Wind speeds picking up as well. So if we look at transport winds on Saturday, stronger winds across much of the area. Again, those gusts 50 to 55 miles an hour possible over southwest Utah, far southern Nevada, really any of our wind-prone areas or higher, more exposed areas will see some really strong winds on Saturday as that trough begins to move into the area and mixing heights pick up. On Sunday, the main trough continues to move through, bringing continued precipitation to many areas and ventilation rates decreasing just a bit as that trough moves through. Winds dying down on Sunday behind that main front, and mixing heights kind of a mixed bag across the area with some higher values over far southeast Utah where the winds will stay a little bit elevated and the Arizona Strip kind of ahead of that front still. Forecasted clearing index for Utah shows pretty poor values across much of the area today, increasing tomorrow with the winds, especially across the central and western portions. And then by Sunday, the values increase across the southeast but begin to decrease over the west. The 3-day precipitation totals are shown here. Again, the highest amounts are going to be continuing to be seen over the central and western Idaho mountains, but some rain and high elevation snow will move through mostly, again, higher elevations into western Wyoming, northern Utah, northeast Utah, and northern and central Nevada, really Saturday into Sunday. On Monday, continued to see cooler temperatures and some precipitation in the forecast, ventilation rates decreasing across the east. And that next little trough moving through on Tuesday will bring an increase in precipitation rates across much of the Great Basin. We see some better moisture coming into the southern half of the Great Basin. Ventilation rates staying kind of lower on the eastern half of the basin with elevated values in the west. And then by late in the day, Wednesday, we'll start to see some drying moving in, but could see some showers lingering into the morning, precipitation lingering into the morning time, and ventilation rates improving area-wide. And then by Thursday, Thanksgiving, it is looking like we'll see a little ridge building in for drying and clearing skies. So that's a good news for travel on Thursday so far in the forecast. And the precipitation totals for days 4 and 5. This is going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. Continued precipitation across much of the area, with the higher amounts coming to the higher elevations of Utah as we see that southern stream of moisture coming in. An extended forecast November 29th through December 5th, calling for below normal temperatures across much of the U.S. and a drier pattern expected for the West Coast, including much of the basin. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back on Monday for the latest updates.